Hello, my name is Lilika. Today I'm going to be talking about past papers, the amount you should be doing, how to factor them into your scheduling, and how to adapt your scheduling to make time to do the past papers that you need to be doing. When you're sat down trying to make a study schedule that you'll have to adhere to for the next month or two or so, it can feel like quite a daunting task. And that's understandable because you are most likely making a standard revision timetable. When you're making a standard revision timetable, you are forced to predict what you will be feeling and how confident you will be in certain topics weeks into the future. I use this method of making this standard timetable for all of my schooling career, and I can say with confidence that it is definitely not the most efficient way to be planning your studying or even to be studying in general. For example, oftentimes I would take longer than I thought I would to study a certain topic in a day, and I would have to adjust my entire time schedule for the rest of what I had planned in the future just because I took a bit longer than I thought I would in one day. Or it would take me a lot shorter to finish studying a certain topic, and I would spend the rest of the day browsing YouTube or something unproductive like that. Because of this, you should consider devising a retrospective revision timetable. Ali Abdul mentioned this in one of his YouTube videos, and that's where I saw it for the first time, just to kind of give credit where credit is due. But essentially, your retrospective timetable will look like a bunch of topics that you've listed that constitute the subject that you are studying. And that's it. That's literally it. No more spending hours coming up with a timetable for what you'll be doing hour by hour, 2 weeks in the future. The way you use your retrospective revision timetable is by writing down the date that you revise a topic next to the topic that you are revising. You can then color code your entry based on how easy you found it to remember the information, and you continue doing this for all of the topics over all of the days of all of the weeks that you'll be revising. The idea is that after a while you'll really start to get a good grip and an idea on which topics you have a good grip on and which topics you're struggling with. And this will help you to spend more time on the topics that you aren't getting a hang of as quickly and less time studying the topics that you've already studied. This is where the standard revision timetable that I used to draw up really fell short for me. With the retrospective revision timetable, the timetable adjusts itself to your studying and not the other way around. When it comes to doing past papers, I would suggest at least a month or two of just doing past papers and doing your spaced repetition in between. So as you're planning on when you'll start studying, when you'll finish studying, remember to give yourself 1 to 2 months to just do past papers. This means you'll probably have to start studying a lot sooner than you thought you would have to or you were planning on studying. And you probably won't have as much time as you thought to just go through the textbook or the syllabus, reading it for the first time. However, may I suggest that going through the textbook for the first time and reading the information should only take up about 10% of the time you spend studying that subject in general. Now, this might sound like an alien idea to most people, especially since reading and rereading material seems to be a study method that most people think is just a given, when that's just really not the case, and you probably won't remember most of what you're reading if you're just reading and rereading the material anyway. You want to start employing methods such as spaced repetition and active recall right from the get-go. You want to start reading your textbook for the first time and then close the textbook and think, okay, what am I reading? What is the point of what I just read? Learning isn't just passive reading and then a frick ton of studying and revision trying to remember what's in the textbook. You're using methods like active recall and spaced repetition right from the get-go. Because of this, learning the material for the first time and just studying the material kind of becomes one, and this should free up a bit more of this time you would, block off to just studying and just spaced repetition, and free up that time for you to do past papers. This way you aren't putting time pressure on yourself when you're first learning the subject by making time to do past papers later on. Okay, so you have the pre-planning out of the way, and now you actually want to plan how many past papers you'll do, when you will do them, etc, etc. Personally, this is the amount of past papers that I did in my studying. Now keep in mind that for AS Physics I was using a website called Physics and Math Tutor, where they categorize past paper questions based on the topic that they are on. A lot of what constituted to the amount of past papers that I did wasn't necessarily me just sat down writing a past paper, but rather me sat down and doing like 60 questions just on electricity, for example. Nevertheless, I spent a lot of time doing past papers. So what's the tactic to fit in all those past papers? I would do 3 to 4 past papers per day, focusing on the subjects that I felt less confident in, but never not doing at least 1 past paper of each subject that I was doing every day. So for example, if I knew my physics exam is sooner than my math exam, I would do like 3 physics past papers and 1 math past paper in the day, because I know that once I finish my physics exam, I'll be doing 4 math past papers a day, every day, for the days leading up to my exam. So I don't need to focus on math that much right now. I should rather focus on physics because my exam is sooner. This was quite easy for me since I split up my subjects into 2 sittings. For example, for AS, I wrote 3 of my subjects in October of 2020, and then the rest of my subjects I wrote in October of 2021, which granted wasn't my plan initially. I was booked to write in June of 2021, but because of COVID, those exam dates were cancelled and I had to spend another 6 months revising and everything. But still, the principle applies. Because I spaced out my subjects, I didn't have as much on my plate, so I could kind of do a bit of everything while still focusing on what was the most important at the time. Because of this, I could kind of do a bit of everything when it came to the subjects that I was doing, but I could still focus on the subject that was the most important for me to be doing at the time. But it's still a useful principle to stick to doing a bit of everything as you go on. This should ensure that you never drop the ball on any one subject. You're kind of keeping everything fresh in your mind and you're practicing as you go, but also that you prioritize correctly and you do the subject that you should be doing based on the amount of time you have before each exam. If you use this method, it should be pretty straightforward. It won't be as rigid, so you'll be able to adjust it as you go. If one day you feel, oh, I'm feeling a bit iffy on math, you just do more math past papers. And you're not kind of boxed in by this timetable that you made months ago when you hadn't even started studying the subjects to begin with. That'll just make your life a lot easier. It'll be a lot more fun. You won't feel like you're grinding quite as much because, you know, it's something that's moving and changing as you move and change. And yeah, I don't know. Your life will just be better. I can confirm. If you like this video, this is pretty much what this channel is all about. I have another video that I made on past papers. You can go check that out. I made a video on scientific proven studying techniques. You can go check that out. Also, subscribe. This is what I do here. So if you're into this video, this is the general vibe of the channel. So feel free to subscribe. It's free. You can always unsubscribe later. I really do appreciate you subscribing. Also, of course, if you liked it, leave a like. Seems pretty logical and straightforward to me. If you have anything to say, comment it, whether that's a question, a statement, suggestion. I'm happy to chat or answer questions or anything like that. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, and good luck on your studying journey.